I went with my boss to meet a major client, and it turned out to be my dad. Seeing that I was working, my dad didn't want to interrupt. He just casually put my favorite dishes on my plate whenever he saw them. After dinner, my boss was about to drive me home. But instead, I blissfully linked arms with my dad and said, "Let's go home together." My dad smiled. "All right." My boss, who was pulling the car around nearby, just stared. When I got home, I saw I had 99 unread messages on my phone, all from my boss. "Stella, are you crazy? You're just an intern. It's not on you to sell yourself for the company. If anyone's gonna do it, it's me. That old creep was totally checking you out. He's obviously bad news. Don't let him fool you. It's not too late to turn back." After that, it seems like he ran out of ideas. "I get that you want a shortcut, but you'd pick him over me? Okay, so the old guy has more money than me right now, but I'm not doing too bad, am I? I'm young, I'm in great shape, and I've got stamina. How can I not measure up to some 65-year-old geezer? Trust me, he can't satisfy you." That was the most I'd ever heard my boss say at one time. After graduating from college and returning to the States, I joined a startup. I heard the boss had also just graduated not too long ago. After a year of job hunting with no luck, he decided to start his own company. Aside from being a little hard to communicate with sometimes, he was a pretty good guy. When work was slow, he'd even moonlight to make sure we all got paid. After about 6 months, the company started doing pretty well. We expanded, and the boss hired 2 more people. I was successfully promoted to his assistant. Now I tag along with him to meet clients. Honestly, if it weren't for the 3,000 raise, I'd rather be chilling in the office with the AC blasting, ordering takeout, and waiting for my paycheck. Even though I'm out running sales with him now, my boss doesn't really exploit me. He even does all the driving himself. Eating the breakfast burrito my boss bought me, I listened to him sell me on the dream. "Stella, you've been with me for a while now. You know what kind of person I am. I'd never treat you unfairly." I chewed and chewed. "I know. This breakfast burrito is actually really good." My boss, Larry, continued, "You've worked so hard with me lately, running around everywhere. I've seen it all. Tomorrow, after we meet this important client and land this huge deal, I'll give you a bonus and some time off." More chewing. "That's great, boss. What's that thin, crispy thing inside this burrito? It's so good." What was he rambling on about? I wonder if I can get him to buy me a couple more of these. I rubbed my slightly full stomach. Nah, better not. But then again, free food is free food. "Boss, I'm still hungry." Larry nodded, satisfied. "She's a good eater. This is gonna work out." Larry was taking tomorrow's dinner meeting very seriously, prepping materials until midnight. He even made a reservation at a 7-star luxury restaurant. Seeing my boss so focused and serious for the first time, I also got into high alert mode. I heard this big client was an introduction from his family. After seeing him toil away for almost 2 years with little to show for it, Larry's family wanted to give him a hand. Some prideful rich kids would see this as a handout, a sign that they're being looked down upon, and would refuse their family's help no matter what. But Larry was different. He had over a dozen employees to support. He couldn't just abandon them. He's a very responsible person. Having struggled to find a job himself, he didn't want his employees to go through the same hardship of unemployment. That's why this client was so important to Larry. He dressed to the nines in a sharp suit, and I even broke out a professional-looking pantsuit for the occasion. We arrived at the restaurant first. My boss, Larry, kept glancing at his watch. "You nervous, boss?" I asked. "A little," he admitted. "I just don't know if this big shot will be interested in a small-time operation like ours." I patted his shoulder. "Relax. Whether it works out or not, we won't abandon you. Who would ever leave a job with little work, good pay, and a clueless boss?" Just as I said that, the private room door opened, and a familiar figure walked toward us. Larry instantly switched gears and hurried over to greet him. "Mr. Lee, so good to see you." I never thought the major client Larry was talking about would be my own father, David Lee. As we sat down, I whispered to Larry, "This one's in the bag." Larry had no idea what I meant. I couldn't really explain, so I just shot my dad a look from across the table. Seeing that I was working, my dad didn't try to pull the family card and bother me. I was sitting next to Larry, but my dad came and sat right next to me. Aren't there plenty of other seats?" I muttered. "You really have to sit right here?" A father knows his daughter. My dad caught my meaning and was about to get up, but Larry quickly stopped him. No, it's fine. Mr. Lee, please, sit wherever you'd like." Under the table, Larry kicked me. I shut up and behaved. For a second there, I almost forgot he wasn't just dad. My dad shot Larry an appreciative glance and then smoothly transitioned into business talk. When he saw me pull out the documents in an orderly fashion, he smiled with fatherly pride. "Mr. Song, your assistant is quite impressive." Larry replied, "Oh, not at all." "Me, that's right, I am." Throughout the meal, while talking business with Larry, my dad would also casually put food on my plate. He used to take me to business dinners all the time when I was little, so I was used to him doing this. I didn't notice Larry's expression growing darker and darker. Before we were even done talking, Larry suddenly announced he was full. I looked up from my food, utterly engrossed. There were still so many dishes left. How could he be full? Larry shot me a look, telling me to keep quiet, and then pulled me out of the room. Before leaving, he gave my dad a meaningful glance. "Thank you for taking care of my assistant, Mr. Lee. We can discuss the partnership another time." He might not have a ton of pride, but he had some. He wasn't going to let some old creep make moves on his assistant. I stared at Larry, completely bewildered by his sudden hero saving the damsel act. "Stella, you're one of my people. I won't let you be taken advantage of." "What's with you? Why so dramatic all of a sudden?" "I'll go get the car." I was still dazed. "We're leaving for the day?" "Yeah." The moment he left, my dad came out. He patted my head. "Stella, are you off work now?" I nodded slowly. "I guess so. My boss is acting weird. But I get to leave early." "Whatever." I linked my arm through my dad's. "Let's go home together." My dad beamed. "All right." Not far away, my boss, who had just pulled the car around and saw the whole thing. Larry, he made his move. He actually went after my pure, innocent assistant. When I got home, I found 99 plus unread texts on my phone, all from my boss. "Stella, are you crazy? The company hasn't gone under. It's not like I can't support you. Why did you leave with some old guy? You're an employee, you don't have to sacrifice yourself for work. If anyone has to, it's me. That old creep was totally checking you out. He's obviously bad news. Don't let him fool you. It's not too late to turn back." After that, it seems like he ran out of ideas. "Stella, didn't you say you wouldn't abandon me? I get that you want a shortcut, but you'd pick him over me? Okay, so the old guy has more money than me right now, but I'm not doing too bad, am I? I'm young, in good shape, and I've got stamina. How can I not measure up to some 65-year-old geezer? Trust me, he can't satisfy you." "I can." "You can what?" That was the most I'd ever heard my boss say at one time. I thought for a moment and decided to send him a message. He's my dad. The chat window went silent instantly. 5 minutes later. "Larry, did he force you to call him that?" "Me, I was born to call him dad." "Do you need to be forced to call your own dad dad? Could it be that Larry has a strained family relationship? Some childhood trauma or psychological issue? What does he call his dad if not dad? The guy next door? Whatever. Best not to pry into other people's family matters. On the other end of the line, Larry was heartbroken. Okay, I get it. I naively thought the matter was cleared up and felt relieved. Good that you get it. I breathed a sigh of relief. Misunderstanding resolved. On his end, Larry's brow was furrowed tightly. Why is she so stubborn? Me, by the way, boss, I don't want anyone else to know about this. Can you keep it a secret for me? I didn't want my coworkers to find out my real identity. I was afraid they'd stop sharing snacks with me and maybe even gossip behind my back about me being a rich girl putting on an act. People can be so judgmental these days, many just can't stand to see others do well. Larry, don't worry, I will. Who goes around blabbing about someone else's sugar daddy situation? He wasn't a gossip. Our crossed wires conversation ended, and I happily fell asleep. Larry, however, tossed and turned all night in his king-sized bed. After a blissful 2-day weekend, I returned to the office on Monday. When my coworkers saw me, they enthusiastically handed me 2 bagels and then whispered, "Larry's in a bad mood today. Be careful." Back when the company expanded a bit and Larry needed to pick an assistant, nobody wanted the job. No one wanted to be stuck running around outside with the boss. At a startup, both the company and the employees are generally young. And since these people were new to the professional world, everyone had a laid-back attitude. They all preferred to slack off and hated having the boss watch over their shoulder. At the time, I was the only one who volunteered to be his assistant. Seeing someone step up, they were all relieved, their eyes filled with stars of admiration for me. So now, my coworkers are still very grateful to me. They admire my ability to handle the pressure of running around with the boss. They were also terrified that I'd crack under the pressure and quit, which would mean the pressure would fall on them. So even when the boss was in a bad mood, my colleagues would kindly give me a heads up to prevent me from stepping on a landmine. He came in today and immediately started complaining about the weather, my coworker said. Larry was in a bad mood. Could it be because the deal with my dad fell through? I thought my dad had a pretty good impression of him. He even mentioned him to me over the weekend, saying Larry was young, promising, and a force to be reckoned with. I brewed a cup of coffee and knocked on the boss's office door. Larry, come in. His voice was a couple of notches lower than usual. He was definitely not in a good mood. I tiptoed in. Coffee for you, boss. Hearing my voice, Larry looked up from his computer. He stared at me, stunned. I thought you wouldn't be coming in. His words made no sense. It was the weekend, of course I wasn't here. Isn't Monday a work day? Larry, I thought you were going to quit. It took me a second to process. Okay, he found out 2 days ago that I'm Mr. Lee's daughter, so. He thought I was some pampered rich girl who wouldn't deign to work in his humble little company and was going to quit? He was really overthinking it. I admit I used to be a pampered princess, but after 5 years of fending for myself while studying abroad, I've changed. I've really changed. Picky eater? Not anymore. After coming back to the States, I'd practically eat anything. Princess complex? Gone. I had to work as a dishwasher in a restaurant while I was abroad. Because I was the youngest child of the youngest generation in my family, and a girl in a family full of sons, daughters were a rarity. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was raised in the palms of my family's hands, given whatever I wanted. I couldn't even dress myself in middle school and still needed to be fed. Ultimately, it was my mom who couldn't stand it anymore. To build my character and prevent me from being completely spoiled, she went against everyone's wishes. She steeled her heart, sent me abroad, and aside from tuition, told me to figure out the rest on my own. She even cut off any financial aid from my dad and my brother. Those 5 years abroad were a total reality check. I learned to do my own laundry, cook my own meals, and earn my own money. I stopped daring to buy luxury goods. The spoiled me was gone for good. I was even afraid that coming back would land me in my mom's clutches again, which is why I rushed to find a job. Larry had no idea how cheerful and independent I'd become. I'm not going to quit, Larry. You have no idea what my family situation is like. My mom is a tough cookie. If I go back, I'm in for a rough time. For instance, I haven't seen my brother smile in ages. But Larry, bless his heart, misunderstood again. It's okay. If you're having any trouble, you can tell me. He knew it. She must have her reasons for doing that. She had no choice. Ugh. What has society done to a pure, innocent girl who just graduated from college? Ugh. I waved my hands. It's fine, it's fine. I can handle it myself. A strange look of pity flashed in Larry's eyes as he looked at me. Seeing my strong, optimistic spirit in the face of life's struggles even sparked his deep-seated desire to protect me. Besides, you're so good to me, and I get along great with my colleagues. Unless you fire me, I'm not leaving. I told you I wouldn't abandon you, boss. Larry hesitated. Then, you and that David Lee. What about it? I asked. Never mind. He had promised not to bring it up again. The walls have ears, and it wouldn't be good for her. I thought he was worried I'd mix my personal and professional life. Don't worry, I know how to keep things separate. Publicly, I have no relationship with Mr. Lee. Larry, so privately. There's still a relationship? Is that what she means? Just how difficult is her family situation? It's not enough that she has a sugar daddy, she still has to work here. Does she know that old guys like David Lee aren't reliable, so she wants to keep a backup plan? Sigh, she's so young and already has to shoulder the family's burdens. It's not easy for a girl to make it on her own out here. She's not to blame for what she's doing to survive. Blame fate for being unfair. Blame himself for finding out too late. For not stopping her. Blame himself for being indecisive and not confessing his feelings sooner, for not being there when she needed help. If he were more successful, would she have had to debase herself with an old man like that? Larry's gaze on me grew increasingly strange, while I remained completely oblivious to the elaborate drama he had constructed in his head. After that, Larry started treating me better and better. I wasn't sure if he was trying to suck up to me because of my dad or what. He often took me out for private meals and would randomly throw money at me. For example, he'd ask me to buy something for him that only cost $100, but he'd give me $1,000 and tell me to keep the change as a tip. Not only that, but when I got my paycheck at the end of the month, I found an extra $20,000 in my account on top of my regular salary. Larry explained, "You deserve this. I told you I wouldn't let you suffer while working for me. That 20 grand is all your bonus." I expected a bonus, but I never thought it would be this much. What kind of god-tier boss is this? Seeing the money, I was so thrilled I jumped for joy and gave Larry a huge hug. I'm not exaggerating. After living without money, you learn to appreciate it. 5 years abroad without a dime had turned me into a money-grubbing character who lights up at the sight of cash. I knew my net worth was in the millions, but that was all my parents' money. I knew my mom could take it all back at any moment, so I understood one thing: only the money you earn yourself is truly yours. $20,000 genuinely made me happy. Seeing me so happy, the corners of Larry's mouth turned up in a smile. He lowered his voice, telling me not to make a big deal out of it. Shoo, I didn't give the others this much. I nodded eagerly. Larry then pulled an airplane ticket out of his pocket. And I promised you a vacation, so here it is. I've booked you a 5-day luxury beach resort trip. Oh my God. I've always wanted to see the bioluminescent waves. Thank you, boss. I declare, from this day forward, I will work my fingers to the bone for you. I'll live for you, I'll go crazy for you, I'll bang my head against a wall for you. My praises made Larry a little embarrassed. He scratched his head and waved his hands. Huh, it's nothing, really. Who said this boss was stingy? This boss is incredibly generous. The 5-day luxury beach trip had a set time, so I packed my bags and left the next day. But on the plane, I ran into my boss, Larry. He was sitting right next to me. Larry gave me the ticket. There was no way he didn't know I was flying out to vacation today. Larry, I have a business trip in the same area. It's just a coincidence. Don't worry, I won't disturb your vacation. After the 2-hour flight, we went to get our luggage together. Larry, I arranged for the hotel to pick us up. The driver is waiting in the parking lot. Our hotels are next to each other. Yeah, there was a discount for booking together. 2 adjacent suites. I went to drop off my luggage and heard a thud from the room next door. Larry had come out. I thought he would knock on my door. I mean, he said I was here for a vacation, but this was all a bit too deliberate. Same flight, same hotel, and rooms next to each other. What was this if not a thinly veiled work trip? I was already mentally prepared to work, but after waiting for a while, there was no sound at the door. I opened my door. The hallway was empty and quiet. Where was the boss? Wait, did he really go out to do business by himself? With mixed feelings, I slowly made my way to the hotel restaurant for dinner. I texted my best friend and childhood pal, who was stuck working overtime, vacation mode, activated. My friend, Hannah, I'm so jealous. I'm turning into a green-eyed monster, Stella. The restaurant had a large floor-to-ceiling window, offering a view of the sunset over the sea. The pinkish evening clouds and the waves reflecting them were especially beautiful. Seeing the photos I sent made Hannah even more upset. I'm going to crawl around my office like a goblin in the dark. I'll make my dad see what happens when he messes with me. I'll turn into a furry beast. My dear bestie, you had the foresight. I was wrong. I should have listened to you and found a job outside the family when I came back. Anything would be better than being trapped in my own family's company. My dad is the worst kind of capitalist. He's such a jerk. He doesn't even spare his own daughter. 365 days a year, he doesn't give me a single day off. He's not human. Can you believe my dad is not human? I work myself to death 30 days a month, and I don't even get a salary. My dad says what I earn belongs to the company, and the company is mine, but I still have to ask his permission to spend a single dime of my own allowance. I had seen all this coming. If I had joined my family's company, I probably would have ended up in the same boat. My condolences. I'll see all the sights you can't see for you. Work hard. I'll be free on your behalf. By the way, my boss booked the flight and hotel. I didn't spend a penny. Hannah, now that's a real boss. So humane. Tell my dad to learn a thing or two. I really can't take it anymore. But I'm on vacation while he's working. Isn't that a bit off? You're on vacation, and your boss is working? Girl, did you become the boss's wife? Hannah, isn't that the kind of treatment only the boss's wife gets? Maybe it's because my boss found out my real identity. That's why he's being so polite and taking such good care of me. Hannah, my dad knows my identity, so why isn't he sucking up to me? Doesn't he know that when he's lying in a hospital bed one day, I'll have the power to decide whether to pull his oxygen tube or not? That old geezer, just wait and see if I'm a filial daughter in the future. After her rant, Hannah got back to business. Okay, seriously though. If your boss is using you to get on your dad's good side, then yeah, he should be sucking up to you. At first, I thought that might be it. But if he had really latched on, he should be busy with my dad's project right now. Why would he rush off on a business trip here? Larry seems to have met my dad through his family connections. And after he found out I'm my dad's daughter, he's been a bit hesitant to talk about it and hasn't asked me to talk to my dad for him. Hannah, then why is he so nice to you? There's no such thing as a free lunch. Even my own dad doesn't spoil me. I wouldn't believe your boss doesn't have some ulterior motive. Anyway, just be careful. He's either after your money, your connections, or your looks. I could rule out money first, since Larry was the one spending money on me. As for the other two things Hannah mentioned, those remain to be seen. I kept an ear out for any sounds from the next room. It wasn't until after 9 in the evening that Larry came back. I immediately opened my door. "Larry, have you eaten?" My sudden appearance startled him. "Yeah, I ate. Just finished a business dinner." "You didn't go out and have fun?" "Well, it's late and not safe. Once I'm done with work in a couple of days, I can go with you." I smelled the alcohol on him. "Boss, if you've already talked to Mr. Lee about that big deal, why are you in such a rush to find other business? Is the company having financial trouble?" Larry quickly shook his head, afraid I'd run off if I thought the company was in trouble. "The company's fine, don't worry. I'm not taking David Lee's deal anymore. That's why I'm out here looking for business. If I can land these 3 deals, it'll make up for the gap left by David Lee's project." So that was it. I was confused. Why not? I can talk to Mr. Lee. Larry really needed that big contract, and didn't my dad say he was very impressed with this young man? Why would he go back on his word? Larry quickly grabbed my hand. Larry Song, am not at the point where I need to rely on a woman. He didn't want to rely on her selling herself. Wait, did Larry turn down the deal because of me? Because he didn't want to use my dad's connections? So why is he still being so nice to me? Is he playing hard to get, or is he after my looks? Larry looked down, his mind racing with his own calculations. "Don't worry, I'm 80% sure I can close all 3 of these deals. The company will get better and better. You can just stay on without any worries. Stella, don't go looking for David Lee. I don't want you to go to him. He had to save this fallen angel. He couldn't just stand by and watch the woman he liked stay in a pit of fire. With my boss so fired up, I, as an employee, couldn't just sit back and vacation. What time are you heading out tomorrow?" "I'll go with you." Larry shook his head. "You just enjoy your vacation. I can handle the business meetings. Besides, I used to run sales by myself all the time." I sighed. It's easy to get used to luxury, but hard to go back to a simpler life. He didn't have an assistant before, but now that he did, it was obviously more convenient to use one. "It's fine, boss. I'll just consider it a chance to get some experience and see the world with you. You can just give me a bigger bonus later." Larry, she must really be struggling financially at home. She's even thinking about earning money while on vacation. Oh well, let her earn it. The more money she has, the less she'll need to go to that scumbag David Lee. With that thought, Larry became even more motivated and driven. Larry and I powered through 3 days and 6 dinner meetings, finally closing deals with all 3 clients. There were still 2 days left of the 5-day vacation. "Larry, for these next 2 days, you can just relax and have fun. I'll take you wherever you want to go. Starting now, you're off the clock. You're no longer my assistant, Stella, and I'm no longer your boss, Larry. We're just 2 people on a trip together. A trip buddy." Larry's definitely a young guy, even using a word like that. With work done, I could finally relax and enjoy my vacation. The dresses I'd packed away could finally see the light of day. We spent a day at the beach, and I was surprised by Larry's patience. He turned into my personal bag carrier, provided a full-time photography service, and covered all the expenses. Even by evening, there wasn't a hint of impatience on his face. Now at dinner, he was still putting food on my plate and peeling shrimp for me. I rested my chin on my hand and watched him, starting to ponder what my friend Hannah had said. A normal boss, no matter how nice, probably wouldn't treat an employee this well, right? So considerate, so attentive. Not an ounce of a bossy attitude. He even told me not to think of him as my boss. Could he really be after? Buzz, buzz, buzz. A sudden ringing interrupted my thoughts. The caller ID read, "Daddy." My phone was on the table, and Larry glanced over and saw it too. I knew he didn't want me to have much contact with my family, so I picked up my phone and walked outside to take the call. The moment I turned around, Larry's face darkened. Daddy? It's David Lee again. What does he want from her now? As I walked, I answered my dad. I'll be back the day after tomorrow. Larry, that persistent old bastard. Damn it. How could I forget about you? You're always on my mind. I even bought you a souvenir. I said into the phone. As I walked further away, he couldn't hear me anymore. He waited at the table for another 5 minutes, feeling like he was sitting on pins and needles. Just as he was about to get up and look for me, I came back, beaming. The reason was simple. My dad was thrilled to hear I was on vacation and had bought him a souvenir, so the old man was going to send me some money. Thankfully, my mom had loosened the reins since I came back. Just as I put my phone down, I got a Venmo notification, 20,000 received. Larry pretended to be peeling a shrimp, but he had a clear view of my phone screen. He finished the shrimp, washed his hands, fiddled with his phone for a moment, and the next second, my screen lit up again. Venmo notification, 40,000 received. I looked up at him, confused. This was. Larry smiled generously. That's compensation for interrupting your vacation these past few days and for helping me with work. My smile was radiant. Thanks, boss. I'm rich. I'm on my way to financial freedom. Larry, let's see that old man top this. We went back to our respective rooms for the night. After my shower, I heard a knock at the door. It was Larry. Stella, do you have hot water in your room? He asked. Mine suddenly stopped working, and the hotel maintenance won't be able to come for a while. Even though it was autumn, the nights were still pretty chilly. I quickly opened the door to let him in. Larry must have been in the middle of a shower when the water cut off. His hair was wet and dripping, and he was only wearing a gray towel wrapped around his waist. His upper body was bare, with smooth, tight muscle lines. His 8-pack was perfectly defined, and below that, his V-line was tantalizingly visible. Crystal clear water droplets trickled down his pale skin. The sight made my ears burn and my mouth go dry for no reason. Wait, him, me, he. Larry just stood there quietly at the door, letting me stare for a full 5 minutes. Finally, my gaze became so intense that his blood started to rush, and he couldn't take it anymore. He spoke in a low voice, "Can I come in and take a shower now?" I stammered, "Why yes, you can." Larry went into the bathroom to shower, and I chugged cold water in the living room. Listening to the sound of the shower, my mind couldn't help but replay the scene from moments ago. I had only ever seen such a perfectly sculpted male body on TV before. My face was still flushed. I even found myself wondering about the part hidden by the towel. It seemed quite impressive in shape. Stop, stop, stop. Stella, what are you thinking? When Larry came out, he looked a little different from before. The towel around his waist was wetter than before. It clung to the top of his thighs, and my eyes, with a will of their own, immediately locked on. After a couple of seconds, I forced my gaze away. Larry pretended not to notice. I'm done. I'll head out now. Late at night, loneliness felt like a flood, making one's thoughts turn a little dirty. I got up and drank a lot of water, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. At midnight, a sudden flash of lightning lit up the sky, followed by a loud clap of thunder. I was wide awake for a moment. 5 minutes later, Larry knocked on my door again. Stella, it's thundering. Are you scared? Through the door, I answered, nope. Larry paused, then his voice softened. I am. Can you come keep me company? I had just managed to calm down. But whatever, he's handsome. Keeping him company won't hurt me. I followed Larry to his room. It was pitch black. When lightning occasionally flashed, I could see his face. I turned on the small bedside lamp. You can sleep. I'll stay here and watch over you. Larry obediently closed his eyes, but his hands snuck out from under the covers and accurately found mine. I tried to pull away but found that he was fast asleep and gripping tightly. Bored, I scrolled through my phone for a bit, then found myself staring at Larry's face, lost in thought. He had very handsome features, deep-set eyes, a high nose, thin lips, and a noble air about him. My coworkers always said he was scary when he wasn't smiling, that working with him was stressful. But from my experience, he seemed harmless and very caring. But thinking back carefully, the events of today seemed to have crossed the line between a boss and an employee. No normal boss-employee relationship would involve sleeping over like this. If he wasn't after my connections, was he really after me? Lost in thought, I drifted off to sleep. The next time I opened my eyes, it was morning, and I was staring at the ceiling. The ceiling? Was I sleeping in a bed? I shot up and quickly looked down at my clothes. Thankfully, they were intact. There was no one else beside me. Wait, how did I end up in the bed? Where was Larry? Larry was in the kitchen making breakfast. After washing up, I went out and saw him humming a little tune, looking to be in a very good mood. I walked over. Larry, did you carry me to bed last night? I don't have a habit of sleep climbing into beds. He nodded. I saw you'd fallen asleep, so I carried you to the bed. But don't worry, I didn't touch you. He only gave her a light peck on the forehead. We're both adults. We can read between the lines. So you're not actually scared of thunder, are you? Were you trying to seduce me on purpose? The thunder, and borrowing the bathroom to shower. Larry brought over 2 plates of breakfast, handing one to me. He smiled faintly. Yes, I was trying to seduce you last night. I like you, Stella. I've liked you for a long time. His directness caught me completely off guard. He then asked, what about you? Do you have any feelings for me? His eyes seemed to have a bewitching quality, and I subconsciously nodded. Larry, good. Good. What does that mean? So was that a confession? Are we together now? I was still dizzy, feeling like I was in a dream. Larry had already picked up his phone and moved on to the next topic. He glanced at me and said in an overly casual tone, isn't that Mr. Lee? Why is he so close to another woman? Good thing I didn't go into business with him. I didn't realize he was such a two-timer. My attention was drawn to the photo. The woman in the picture was definitely not my mom. Larry added more fuel to the fire. According to the news reports, he's been through several female companions already. I stood up, agitated. That's impossible. Larry tried to calm me. It's okay, Stella. You still have me even without him. In terms of youth and stamina, I'm no worse than him. I couldn't hear a word he was saying. My mind was in a panic, filled with the thought that my family was about to fall apart. I rushed to grab my phone. It showed several missed calls and a text from my dad. Larry, by the way, that Mr. Lee called you a few times this morning. I was afraid he'd wake you, so I answered for you. Don't worry, Stella. I'll be with you from now on. You don't need anyone else. Can I just say, I have absolutely no idea what he's talking about? Half an hour earlier, while I was still asleep. After my dad had called me twice. Larry answered the third call. My dad, hello, Stella. Larry, she's sleeping. That one sentence stunned my dad. But as if that wasn't enough, Larry added, Stella is sleeping in my bed. My dad heard him clearly and was so angry he started gasping for air. You too. Larry, Mr. Lee, if you have a problem, take it up with me, Larry Song. Don't make things difficult for a young woman. Don't come looking for her anymore. I'll also tell Stella not to see you again. Larry Song. You've got some nerve. Beep, 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 Larry hung up the phone. My dad, I can't even see my own daughter anymore. What kind of punk dares to steal my daughter away? Dating is one thing, but he wants my daughter to cut ties with her family. My mom came over. What's wrong, old man? What did our daughter say to make you so angry? My dad let out a cold, CEO-like laugh. The weather is turning. I think it's time for the Song family to go bankrupt. Unaware of all this, I saw the text from my dad on my phone. Stella, you get your butt home right now. My mom had also texted me. Get back here, quick. And my brother, who I hadn't heard from in ages, emergency family meeting at 3 p.m. Please reply to confirm receipt. Me, received. Putting that together with the photo Larry had just shown me. Oh no, this looks serious. I quickly packed my bags and rushed to the airport. Larry accompanied me, helping me change my flight. Did something happen at home? Is it serious? Should I go with you? I was in a bit of a daze. I've seen too many wealthy couples' relationships fall apart. I couldn't believe my dad would be one of those people. I've been luckier than most. I grew up in a loving family. My dad and mom were childhood sweethearts, married young, and have a great relationship. Because dad loves mom, and mom loves dad, my brother and I exist. I grew up surrounded by their love. They are undoubtedly my emotional anchor. I can't imagine what would happen if they split up. My whole world would collapse. After landing, I went straight home. Larry drove me. When he pulled up in front of a villa, he froze. This is your house? The expression on his face was a kaleidoscope of colors. I was also confused. Yeah. Larry suddenly grabbed my hand, asking in disbelief, wait, your dad is? My dad is David Lee, I said. You talked to him on the phone this morning, remember? Larry, no, His world was collapsing. After I got out of the car, he put his head in his hands, his face contorted in pain. Larry, crap. What have I done? So her dad is really her dad. He thought daddy was the internet's slang term, that kind of relationship. A moment later, Larry updated his social media status. When you have a dirty mind, you see dirt everywhere. A note to myself. This was a family matter, so I didn't let Larry come inside. I didn't even have time to get my luggage from the car before I ran in. My mom, my dad, and my brother were all there. I decided to strike first, throwing down the scandalous photo of my dad. Dad, you'd better explain this. My dad was stunned. My mom was stunned. My brother remained expressionless. Forget it. Can't count on him. I guess it's up to me to be the guardian of my parents' love. I transformed into the love judge, declaring righteously, Dad, hurry up and talk. Who is this? How dare you get tangled up with another woman outside? Where does that leave Mom? If you dare betray Mom, I'll be the first to object. There was a moment of awkward silence. My mom pointed at the photo. This picture is incomplete. I was standing right next to him. My dad also explained, this is a family friend, your Aunt Sharon. She wants you to be her daughter-in-law, but I refused, so we were pulling and tugging. My mom nodded in agreement. My brother narrowed his eyes. Where did you get this photo? Larry sent it to me. My dad's face darkened. What a power move. Huh? I asked. What does that mean? My brother summed it up concisely. That Larry guy called Dad today, said you two are together, and told you to cut off all ties with the family. As if my brother's words weren't impactful enough. My dad then proceeded to reenact this morning's phone call, word for word, with dramatic flair. What goes around comes around. Now it was my dad's turn to question me. You didn't even bring your luggage in. Are you really going to cut off your family just because you're in a relationship? Oh no, is this about me? Was this family meeting called for me? I'm so screwed. Meanwhile, in the car outside the villa. The culprit, Larry, was seeking advice from his resourceful cousin. Cousin, I have this friend. He's chasing this girl, and he saw her get into a car with a middle-aged man. He didn't know it was her dad. He kept thinking the girl and her dad had that kind of inappropriate relationship. So, out of the goodness of his heart, he wanted to save the girl from a bad situation. But in the process, he kept bad-mouthing her dad in front of her, tried to drive a wedge between her and her dad, and even faked a scandal about her dad to cause chaos in her family, all so she would cut ties with him. Cousin, wow, that's impressive. Is your friend mentally okay? IQ unknown, but heart of gold. Larry, I never thought she wouldn't have her dad's last name. Plus, I've never met such a down-to-earth rich girl. No heirs, no designer clothes, obsessed with money, and her favorite food is from street stalls. So he never connected Stella with David Lee's daughter. His cousin finally got it. That friend was none other than his own clueless cousin. How can one person cause so much trouble? Larry, help me. Cousin, at this point, just apologize sincerely. After all, honesty is the ultimate weapon. After hearing my dad's description, and considering Larry's strange behavior and attitude lately, now, everything made sense. From the very beginning, Larry never understood that my dad was my dad. It's pretty amazing we managed to have a conversation on completely different wavelengths for so long. No wonder my colleagues always said you need 2 different language systems to communicate with the boss, or you'd never understand what he's saying. I didn't get it at first, but today, the boomerang hit me. No wonder he thought I was going to quit, that I'd found a sugar daddy. No wonder every time I mentioned my dad, he told me to come to him for help. No wonder he didn't partner with my dad, and no wonder he didn't want me to contact him. Everything had a logical explanation. I was worried he was after my family's money and connections, but now I should be worried about his intelligence. Larry is just outside. Should I bring him in? Let him explain. He knows the whole story best. My dad snorted. If he doesn't explain himself clearly, I'll break his legs for daring to lead my daughter astray. I quickly backed away. If you break his legs, you can't punish me, right? I had only been away from Larry for a short hour. When I went back outside to find him, he had opened the trunk, which was full of gifts. What's all this? My first time visiting. These are apology gifts for your parents. He works fast. It took Larry 5 trips to move everything from the car. Larry was sweating profusely, though I couldn't tell if it was from exertion or fear. Uncle, Auntie, I'm so sorry. I've come to apologize. Larry took a deep breath and confessed everything, from beginning to end. Throughout his explanation, my parents wore the expression of an old person staring blankly at their phone on the subway. My brother pulled me aside. Are you sure you want to be with him? He pointed to his head. I hesitated. Bro, he's not mentally challenged. My brother sighed. Fine, as long as you like him. After dinner, I walked Larry out. As we were saying goodbye, he held my hand. Stella, I didn't mean it. I really know I was wrong. His palms were sweaty with nervousness. I stood on the step above him and patted his head. Go on home. Larry was shamelessly persistent. I'm not leaving until you make things clear. You've barely passed my parents' test, I said. But as for our score, I'll settle that with you separately. You just wait. Tonight. Larry nodded obediently. Okay. I'll go home first, wash my sinful body, tie a bow on myself, and wait for you to deal with me.